Hey everyone, it's Friday evening, it's rainy in LA, it's time for a new LonsTV. When it rains in LA, you hear people in LA talk about this a lot, but it really bears repeating. When it rains in LA, everybody loses their shit. Like, they're not used to it, and they just kind of freak out, especially if you're driving around. Everybody drives slow. People just kind of stop randomly in the road because they're afraid of their car touching water. Like, cars weren't designed to interact with water regularly. Cars are designed to, get around in, like, snow and shit. Like, they can handle, like, a little pool, just don't, hydroplane through it. But everybody in LA, like, their brain just, like, shuts down. I think it might be the kind of rain. Like, in New York or on the East Coast when it rains, it just pours. It's like buckets, and everything just gets soaked, and everybody kind of, like, gives up on staying dry. It's like, I'm just going to be wet when I'm outside, and then when I'm inside, I'll change clothes, and I'll get hot cocoa, and I'll feel better. Or beer, or whatever they do on the East Coast. And in Chicago, rain is, like, coming at you because it's so windy, so it's like being in a war zone. So when you're outside, it's like a mission. You're just like, we gotta get where we're going, and if somebody gets left behind, fuck them. They're done. They're dead to me. We just gotta march forward because it's like it's hitting you. And in LA, it's like rain is just it's a mist. It just hangs. It's barely even rain. It's like drizzle, spittle, and it just makes everything like vaguely moist, and it's just always ever present, and it has this illusion. It's like being in Da Nang, and there's this illusion that if I plan my day just right, like if I get a good parking spot, and if I, manage to like walk the perfect path to my apartment, I can stay dry. There's always this like, I could possibly stay dry. So what that means is that everybody then gets like all stressed about getting through the rain without getting wet, whereas everywhere else people would just give up and concede that it's a rainy day and you're going to get wet. But anyway, it makes life stressful in LA to be around all these other stressed out people dealing with it being rainy. So that's not the main thing I wanted to talk about today. I want to talk about, I watched not all of, so I can't really call this a review because I didn't watch the whole thing. And if you're reviewing a movie, you really should watch it beginning to end and concentrate on it so that you have an honest reflection of what you saw. So I can't call this a review. We'll call it a discussion of I'm Still Here, the Joaquin Phoenix documentary. He's now agreed that it's a hoax, so I guess it's like a mockumentary. Whatever it is, it's unwatchable. It took me about 45 minutes to just get so sick of it that I just turned it off. And I never do that. And no matter how bad I think a movie is, I will always, like, let it run through just so I can accurately tell other people, like, here's exactly why this sucked. So all the movies I put on my worst movies of the year list, which I'm going to do on This Week in Movies on Sunday, I watched beginning to end the whole thing, sometimes in theaters. And this movie, it didn't make the list because I couldn't take it anymore. Like, after 45 minutes, I literally had no choice but to turn it off. They're saying now that it's a hoax. The movie, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, Joaquin Phoenix famously, while he was doing press for Two Lovers, I think was the movie, announced he's retiring from show business. He's not going to be an actor anymore. He's retiring from films, and he's going to be a rapper. And then he did this memorable appearance on David Letterman's show where he was just acting like a rude asshole. And then he would show up at clubs and try to do hip-hop and get, like, laughed at and stuff. And so everybody was like, is he full of it? Is it real? And then Casey Affleck, who's his friend, made this film about the whole thing. And now we found out that it was all, like, a game or a joke or something. But that's my point is, I don't know what the point. Usually if it's a prank or it's a hoax, there's like a point. Like when Sacha Cohen does Ali G and Borat and stuff, that's a prank, but he's goofing on people in order to show something about them that they wouldn't just reveal to like an interviewer. Like he's using these characters to bring out their racism and misogyny and homophobia and xenophobia and all that stuff. There's a purpose to it. Even something like War of the Worlds, the point was just to make a very realistic science fiction broadcast, but make it sound like a real radio broadcast. And then people took it, their old people and idiots took it the wrong way and thought aliens were invading. But my point is, you don't just making something that makes you look obnoxious and then afterwards going back and saying, oh, I wasn't really being obnoxious, it was all just a joke and I was playing a character. It's like, no, you were still being obnoxious. And I watching 45 minutes of this movie, like, it's not telling a story, it's not funny, like, there's no point, there's no target, there's no ridicule being aimed anywhere. It's really just this it's really just this self-involved guy acting like a lunatic asshole on camera for presumably almost 2 hours. Just ranting, raving. I mean, it vaguely follows the structure of, like, you see him quit acting and you see him recording some rap songs and you see him, like, trying to meet Diddy and try to get signed and try to, like, really have a rap career. But that's just this very loose structure. Most of the movie is him just doing drugs, hanging out with Casey Affleck and some other people, and just, like, ranting sort of senselessly. I mean, you know, the topics differ. It's like everything from a viral video he just saw to, like, the usual I'm a whiny Hollywood actor BS. Like, oh, junkets are so fake and it's so boring to be an actor and everyone just fawns over me and it's so phony and blah. And it's like, it has some of that, like, whiny BS that you always hear, but it has a million things. He's all over the place, like he's really on coke. And, you know, maybe he's just showing, like, I'm a good actor. I can fool you into thinking I'm on coke. And it's like, yeah, okay, but is that the point? Like, the point is just Joaquin Phoenix is so good an actor that he can pretend to be a lunatic asshole, and he's really not. And, like, there's such a thin line between pretending to be, like, a rude jerk-off and just being a rude jerk-off. It's almost like he had his friend make a movie about how he's a rude jerk-off. And I guess maybe that's the idea. Like, maybe it's it privately between him and his friends, like, this is an inside joke and it's hilarious that now the whole world thinks he's a lunatic jerk-off, but I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it was that hard to do this. Like, they're very proud of themselves for faking everybody out, but really it was just like, act like an asshole, do some blow or pretend to do some blow, have your friend film you, and that's this movie. I mean, there's really not anything else going on. So I got totally bored. I gave up. It's like a personal diary of how I'm a self-obsessed doofus. And it just is screechingly pointless. And if I'd watched the whole thing, I'm sure it would have been on my worst of the year list, but I just got too annoyed with him, and I couldn't take it, so I turned it off. So that's today's LonsTV. I will be back on Monday with some new reviews and other stuff. Thanks, everybody who's been watching and subscribing and sending me nice comments. I really appreciate it. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun, so I will see you next time on LonsTV.